We've all seen those viral makeup trends on Instagram, TikTok, everywhere. But when you try it in real life, it just looks completely different. It doesn't look anything like what you've seen on the influencer or content creator. I've picked out 5 of the makeup trends that actually look good in real life, and I'm gonna take you through every single one of them. I'm Nina and I'm a professional and celebrity makeup artist, and I have been for over 20 years. I am honestly such a realist when it comes to trends. There are so many looks that have gone viral and are still going viral, and they look great when you've got the right filter, the right lighting, and if it's a still photo, because you can edit it according to however you want it to look. But they don't always translate that well in real life. And I know you've been there. I know you have tried at least one of those viral makeup trends and you've done it and just feel like, what is going on? How does it not look like that on me? Today, I'm gonna break down 5 of the best makeup trends that actually look good in real life. And I'm gonna show you how you can tweak them according to you so that you don't look ridiculous and you can still make the most of these trends that look so stunning. I'm not talking silly trends, by the way. I'm not talking ridiculous ones like using a fork to contour your nose or anything like that. I'm talking about real trends, trends that actually do translate well and will look good on you, and you won't feel like a complete nutcase doing it on yourself. The first one is underpainting. Now, underpainting has made a huge comeback over the last few years. It's been going on for so long. Honestly, I can't even begin to tell you how long this technique has been around for. With the rise of kind of social media and celebrities showing different things that their makeup artists are doing, people are becoming a lot more aware of these trends. And underpainting is one of them. It's something I've been doing for years and years, and it is honestly one of the most amazing trends out there. And it isn't as complicated or as difficult as you may think. Ultimately, underpainting is when you contour, highlight, conceal, all before you apply your foundation. And what it does is it gives you this real life soft focus effect to your skin. Now, I don't mind applying my concealer before or after foundation. It really does depend on how much time I have in the mornings or whenever I'm doing my makeup. But one thing I can tell you is if I have a special event or a special night out and I want my makeup to look flawless, like super soft focus, and want it to look like a real life filter, then I underpaint. And obviously, when you first start doing something new and incorporating it into your routine, it is going to take you a little bit longer, but the more practice that you get with it, the quicker you're going to be. If you just take this trend off of some random influencer online who isn't even a professional makeup artist, and you do it and you feel like it looks super heavy and think this is not for me, I'm not surprised you thought that, because you're not learning from the right person. You're not understanding the reason as to why you're doing it and the technique of every layer. You're just kind of piling it all on before you put your foundation on, and you hope for the best. But that isn't how this technique should be done. So let me show you exactly how to make it look good in real life. Everything you're going to use before you apply your foundation is gonna be sheer to like light coverage. You don't want heavily pigmented products. You don't need them in this instance. So everything we're applying onto our skin is going to be sheer to light coverage, maximum medium coverage. That's it. We're not going any higher than that. It really does depend on your skin color, because I feel like the deeper your skin tone, the deeper you can go with the pigments that you're going to be using. But it also does come down to how much coverage you also need as well. It's not just your highlight, contour, and concealer that you're going to be putting on before your foundation, it's also your blush. So let's get on with this. I have my skincare on, I've got my primer on. We're going to go straight in with highlight, contour, and blush. Now, my highlight is going to be my concealer, because I'm using a color which is very, very slightly lighter than my skin tone, not a lot lighter at all, so not a whole shade, but you can mix in like a deeper concealer into your lighter concealer if you don't want it so light. And then for my contour, I'm going to be using a contour stick, and then for my blush, I'm going to be using a cream blush. All of these 3 products are not heavy products. They're not heavy coverage for me. They're quite sheer to light coverage. The only thing that is a medium coverage for me is going to be my concealer. So let's get started with the concealer first. This is where we're going to highlight features. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Too Faced Born This Way concealer in Sand, and I am going to highlight the areas that I really want to kind of like just bring out a bit, but not too much, like not too much product. See, we've got smallest amount there. That is going to literally cover my entire dark circle. And this bit here, is gonna lift for me. Same with this here. Can you see it's very slightly lighter than my skin tone? I'm not applying this anywhere else. And this is the thing, I feel like a lot of people think they need to apply a whole load of product underneath when you're contouring. You really don't. So I'm gonna get my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood complexion brush, nothing on here, and I'm just gonna buff these side bits here in. That's giving me a lift, but it's also giving me a little bit of brightness there too. And then we're just gonna do the same here. Keep that in the same place, but just kind of like drag it up. There you go. This is where I get my damp beauty blender, and I'm gonna just drag this, not drag it, sorry, I'm just patting it, so like really buffing it in on the under eye area, and I'm taking it up here. See how we just used a small amount? And I know you might think to yourself, okay, but I think I might need a little bit more for my dark circles. Over time, you can adjust it accordingly, because like once you do it the first time, I would suggest not using that as your proper day out, like as in anything important. I would use that first time doing it as, you know, you're going down to the grocery store, or you're going somewhere random that you're not really bothered about your makeup, because it gives you a chance to try it, see what it looks like through the day, and then figure out, I need more of this or I need less of this. So let's just also buff this area. Now whatever is left on my sponge, which isn't actually a lot, I'm not putting it back into concealer, I'm just going to take this over my lids, and this is just going to even everything out so that I don't have any kind of like darkness anywhere. Look at the difference there, it's crazy, and I didn't even have to apply more concealer, it's whatever's already on the sponge. Okay, now for the contour. Now I'm going to use a cream contour stick. I'm using my Dior Skin Correct, or is it Skin Contour? It's my Dior Forever contour stick, and I'm going to just do this right there because I want like really lifted cheekbones here, so a little bit higher than usual where I do it, because I just want to lift them even more. And I'd go underneath the jawline there, so just a little dash. You don't need like a whole line covering the whole area. And then I take a little bit up here, and this also gives me a bit of a lift there. That's honestly it. Then I'm going to take a brush. I personally really like using this lately. This is my Hourglass Ambient Foundation brush, but I really love it for blending. There's nothing on here, and I'm just literally dabbing on top, keeping it in the same place. And this is kind of like blurring the line. And one thing I want to tell you is that when you are blurring all this, like blending it in, just remember it doesn't matter if it looks OTT, if the blush looks super loud, if the contour looks super dark, don't worry, because you've still got to go over with a thin layer of foundation, which is almost like this mesh, which is going to just basically tone everything down a bit and give it this soft focus look. It's not going to look for soft focus when you apply everything now. So I don't want you to think that, hold on, it's not looking soft focus, because it won't. Right now, it is probably going to look harsh. You just want to make sure you blend the edges properly, you know, so the edges don't look harsh, but the product is still going to come through. This, you want to really make sure you do drag this bit, because it's got to really go into the neck. Next is the blush. Now I'm going to be using my Makeup by Mario Soft Pop Plumping Blush Veil in Rose Crush. I'm using my Hourglass 15 brush, and I'm just going to go into this blush like that. And then we're going to add some here. And this is where I actually really do want it to be quite bright, because the minute I put the foundation on, it's going to tone it all down. See, this for me right now is way too much, but wait till you see what this looks like when we go over with a thin layer of foundation, which isn't even full coverage. It's going to be a really light coverage foundation. Okay, so you want to use a light coverage foundation or something which is similar to light coverage, right? Most of my foundations are medium coverage, so what I'm going to do is use something even lighter. I'm using my Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer. It's not even a foundation, it's a tinted moisturizer, and this is really going to show you how this can make it all like look all soft focus and how easy underpainting is. So this is my blurred matte version in 3W Palomino, and I am going to get my sponge now. You want to make sure you do this with a sponge, not with a brush, because otherwise if you do it with a brush, you're kind of moving everything around. Now I'm going to take a little bit of that tinted moisturizer, buff it into the sponge, and then I'm going to start buffing it into the forehead, and we are basically going to work our way down. You want to make sure you're applying the same amounts, an even amount each time that you do this, and buff it into the sponge as much as you did the first time. Don't start slacking halfway through. Okay, down the nose. I usually go down the chin and then we go everywhere else. Okay, now this is where you're really gonna see that blush and contour start to become soft focus. This literally is like, wow. How did I just all of a sudden make all of this look so soft focus? Can you see that already? Look at the difference. And it just looks so flawless. I mean, amazing, right? It's the blush and the contour are peeking through. Literally, that's the best way I can put it. It's just peeking through that veil of color that I've applied, which isn't even like medium coverage, let alone full coverage. It's pretty crazy, this technique. It's one of my favorite techniques. I've been doing it for years on clients, and it's the best way to get that really nice flawless finish that doesn't look or feel heavy. I mean, look at that. Everything all of a sudden is soft focus. I didn't even apply a lot of that. I didn't have to go back into some tinted moisturizer. I just applied a pea-sized amount. Now, obviously, this is where you want to set everything, and this is where you're really going to see everything come together. So what I want to do is make sure that there are no creases on certain areas, because otherwise you're just setting the creases. I've got my powder ready, which personally I really like the Huda Beauty Easy Bake and Banana Bread. I've got my Makeup by Mario Master Pro Puff ready. I've got my Beauty Blender ready. Now, this is where I very quickly want to do the eyelids and get them out of the way. So I'm just going to make sure there's no creasing there, because this area has definitely creased because of like blinking and everything and expression. So taking out all those creases, and then just gonna pat some powder on with the puff, and then just dust it off with the Real Techniques setting brush. There you go. Okay, let's get rid of the creasing that's under the eyes that may have developed. And smile lines. Okay, so we're going to press this in here, but we're not going to bake. You're going to see what I mean. This is going to literally lock everything in so that your makeup literally lasts all day. Okay, get your Real Techniques brush again. Again, I said we're not baking, so we're just going immediately onto this area to remove it. And then you can get a bigger brush, like my Veil brush, and just dust it all off. Can you believe we had that like the bright colors from the bright color from the blush, the contour, everything looked a little bit kind of like, oh whoa, it's there, and now all of a sudden it all looks really soft focus. This is what I'm talking about. It is so crazy how you can make this look so natural, and it lasts all day. Everything's locked in. I can't begin to tell you how well this lasts throughout the day, and you'll keep that flawless look. Now, if you feel that this is going to be too matte for you, just go in with a setting spray and just spray it lightly on top. So if you want to just all of a sudden make it look a little bit more lived in, then you just want to go on top like that, and that will speed it up a little bit. Now, everything I've used just now is all listed in my description with the links. So you can head on down there, click on it, and it will take you straight to each product. The next trend is feathered brows, like that whole laminated brow look. Now, sometimes it can end up actually looking a bit too much. I've seen people with such overly laminated looking brows that it just looks really bizarre, like they've got cling film on it or something. It looks really weird. So it really is about finding that balance that works for your face and your hair. It isn't just about your face, it's about your hair too, and how your hair sits naturally. The color of your hair as well. I feel like when your brows are very dark, you don't want them to look overly laminated, like it looks all shiny and it doesn't even look like there's hair there. It just looks like you've plastered them back. It looks really weird. So I think you need to find a good happy medium in this. So first off, you want to make sure that your brows are clean, especially if you're doing your feathered brows after doing your foundation, because you've probably got product on them. So I'm going to show you how to make it look good in real life. So I've got a wet wipe here. I'm going to go over, I've wrapped it around my finger and just go through my brows and just get rid of any product. And you'll see there's always product on them if you've done your base first. And I just go back and forth to really get the brows clean. So now that they're like that, what I want to do is use a really good wax, something that is going to give that laminated look, but not OTT. Now, I have sparse brows, so I need to thicken them up. If you have brows that you don't really need to thicken up, then obviously you're probably not going to need to fill them in, and you probably are going to need to do the kind of the minority of this technique that I'm showing you, which I'll explain to you. So the best brow wax that I've ever used is the Urban Decay Slick Day Brow Wax, and I basically get this through my hair. I really go back and forth to get every strand of hair coated. Look at that, it's all messy. So I really get it into the hair. Like that. Then I get a spoolie. I'm using the Anastasia brow freeze applicator, and I basically go through them and brush them upwards and outwards. So not up, but to the side. Just diagonal. Like that. And then I just get my finger and I press them and push them in the same direction. That is my brow in place, ready for a feathered brow. Now, feathered brow is ultimately you making it look like it's a bit more, there's more hair strokes there. So what we're doing is creating hair strokes. We're not necessarily using a pencil to draw lines, like a thick line anywhere, or shade it all in. Now, I'm using my Urban Decay Brow Blade in Brunette Betty, and this is a really good brow pen because there's a pen on one side and a pencil on the other. So what I do is I start drawing in hair strokes, but from the bottom. If I were you, I would recommend starting a little bit further in than starting right at the beginning of your brow, because if you start from a little bit further in, then you can just go back and do the front of the brow when there's less when there's less product on the pen, because the more product you have on it, the more darker it's going to look and a bit harsh, and the front of the brow should always look a little bit softer. Can you see I've gone all the way across? It's already starting to look a bit fuller without having to like pencil it in. And as you go along, you'll see that there are certain areas you might need to focus on more. Every so often, just look in the mirror so you can, you know, like straight ahead a bit further away. Now, I quite like that because I feel like it's not overly thick and it has shaped my brow well. I'm going to go over to the other side while this dries, because once it's dried with that first layer, you can then go back in. If you keep applying wet to wet, it's just going to go all over the place. Now, this is where you can go to the pencil side and basically don't draw a line anywhere like this. You're not shaping it. You're just continuing with the hair strokes, but you're doing it in the areas that require maybe just a little bit more kind of pigment. And there you go. That is my feathered brow. The next one is latte makeup. Now this trend went viral, but it got really viral and then it kind of died down and then it became viral again. It was crazy. So I feel like this is something that a lot of people are really latched onto because it does look so good, but obviously done in the right way. I know you see a lot of pictures and videos out there of the latte trend where everything is super brown. There is a way to just tone it down so it's not so deep for you, you know? There are various different versions of this. It's really about picking your brown. It's about picking the right type of coffee color that suits your skin tone. Now, ultimately, this can end up going wrong because it can end up making your face look flat or muddy. So that's the problem when you're using a lot of brown tones and not picking the right brown. If you use too much bronzer, not enough tonal variation, and what I mean by that is using different tones of brown together rather than just opting for the one brown shade and using it everywhere, then it does end up looking muddy and it does end up looking a little bit kind of just too matchy-matchy. Here's how to make it work in real life. You want to choose a bronzer which is neutral in tone, not overly warm, but also not overly cool. So something which is pretty neutral and works well for you. I like to use the Fenty Islanding bronzer because I feel like this is a really good bronzer for my face. And I'm going to do my face first and then show you how I add it to the eyes. So I'm going to take my veil brush, go into the bronzer with the smaller side, and this is where I'm going to just kind of almost go along the perimeter of the face, and this is adding some kind of nice bronze feel to my face without it being overly warm. But by doing it under the cheekbones and then taking it up along the sides of the face, that's also helping to just give my face a little bit of dimension so it doesn't look so flat. So here we go, we're going to go under the cheekbones and then take it into the hairline here and there. Now straight away, even though this is not a drastic kind of transformation using this bronzer, it really has added that nice brown tone to my face, but the right tone of it, not muddy, it's not overly dark, it doesn't look like a full-on contoured, it just looks very kind of natural. I've seen a lot of people use the same bronzer color for the eyes and the contour and the bronze, everything, and then they call that the latte look. Personally, like I said, you do need tonal variation in it in order for it to look like there's some dimension there. I'm going to use the RMSBEAUTY liquid eyeshadow in Illy, and also my Hourglass number 6 brush, which is a really good blending brush. So what I do here is I'm not going to take this directly onto the eye. I've got this on the back of my hand here, and I'm just going to basically take this brush into it, grab a little bit, not a lot, buff it right into the brush, and then we're going to go over the lid because I don't want a fully painted lid. I want this to be a really soft wash of color over my eye, and this is the way to do it so that it doesn't look like, okay, she's definitely gone for the latte. Like, look, like you don't want it to just, you don't want to slap on a whole load of brown, different textures all over the face and think you've nailed the trend. See that wash of color? It's so transparent, and that's because I actually blended it into the brush before I blended it onto the skin. Look at that, it's just very soft. It's wearable. Keep going if you want more pigment there. You can keep layering up, and that's the great thing about doing it in this way, is that you don't have to go all in with the product. Now I'm going to take my BK Beauty 207 brush and I'm going to go into some of that, and then I'm just going to go into the lower lash line. Very lightly though, because I don't want it to look super heavy underneath. But I also still want something there. That's enough. Okay, so I'm just going to curl these lashes. And then I'm going to use my Jaw Over Volume because I am really loving this at the moment. It gives that kind of doll-like effect to my lashes. You only need a small amount on your lower lashes. See how we've managed to get a really nice different kind of tonal look here because we've got a different brown to the bronzer. So it's playing around with different shades of brown, like different tones of brown more than the darkness of the brown. So I'm not saying go really dark here with one brown or go with the same brown but go a little bit lighter. I'm saying use different tones. Honestly, you will be surprised at how well that goes together. Now, you also obviously can go in with a really nice nude, neutral, brownish lip, but I want to kind of work that into this next trend that I'm going to show you. This is the lip lift technique. This gives you that subtle filler effect to your lip, and I'm going to use like brownish tone so that you can really see how that plays into the whole previous trend, which is the latte trend. But this is really about overlining along your cupid's bow, but keeping everything on your actual lip line everywhere else. So it's really the middle section that we're working on to really give that lip lift. And it can go horribly wrong because I've seen people do this and they end up doing it everywhere overlined and it ends up looking really duck-like and it doesn't look good. It could be that in real life your liner looks way too dark. So it's about, again, picking out the right tones and also about how much you're overlining, understanding what overlining actually means. It doesn't mean going well and truly above your natural line and leaving a gap there. It's about being very subtle. It's about just shifting it up a very small amount from your natural lip line, not going over it completely. You want to use a creamy neutral lip pencil. So I'm going to use one of the best ones that there is around. It's my Charlotte Tilbury Lip Sheet in Iconic Nude, the perfect lip color, like lip liner shade. So what I'm going to be doing is overlining from the middle where the cupid's bow is. I'm just going to get rid of this scar that I've got from a spot. I've just got a little bit of concealer on this brush. I had a spot right there and it's just not going. The scar is not going. Okay, so you want to make sure that your lip pencil is nice and sharp. So let me just sharpen this. It's literally about to run out. We are going to go a little bit above the cupid's bow. Just a little bit. And then we're going to go down to our natural lip line. What that does is it actually stops your lip from looking overly big and full and fake. So you go a little bit above your natural cupid's bow and then you go onto your actual lip line on the sides of the mouth. That way it's not going to look fake and you're getting that really nice plump look. Same thing here, you're going to go below your natural lip and then you're going to go on your natural lip line. See that? All of a sudden my lip looks fuller from the middle and that's the effect you're going to get with this lip trick. Next you want to go in with a liquid lipstick. So I'm actually going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Lip Velvet in Cool Brown and I'm only going to apply a very small amount of this. So then I get a lip brush, which is my Charlotte Tilbury lip brush. Make sure it's blended into the lip line. And now you can see how that plays in really well with the latte look where we've got different tones of brown and it all fits in well together and gives you that really nice latte look that you can wear in real life. Don't forget I have an online publication called The Beauty Breakfast Club where I write about beauty, style, everything on there, primarily beauty, and it's free to join so you can just subscribe to it for free and it gives you access to most of the site. But if you go for the paid version, which literally costs you the equivalent of getting yourself one coffee a month, then you get access to the entire site. So many tips and tricks. You've got so much to catch up on because there are so many articles on there and I'm talking about really educational like articles, stuff that's really going to teach you about makeup and really help you, and it's much easier to refer back to I think when you're looking for things to help you rather than videos, because videos are great for there and then you rewind and everything, but when you go searching I feel like articles are a really good way to do that. The next trend is glazed skin, or you can call it glass skin. But I prefer to adjust this to your skin type because I feel like not everyone wants that super glass skin which looks like it everywhere, like you're wearing one of Pat McGrath's masks, you know which one I'm talking about. You want something which is going to look really kind of wearable. You want something that isn't going to look crazy in real life. That kind of glazed donut skin look, but in all the right places. It doesn't have to be everywhere. And I feel like this is where people get it wrong. If you have the most perfect skin and it suits you, it suits your style to have that glazed donut look all over, fair enough, go for it. But a lot of us realistically do have textured skin in certain areas. We don't want to look like a glazed donut everywhere. We want to have the glazed areas of the face which are nice and smooth, but we want to stay away from the textured parts. So that's what I'm going to show you, how to do this so it looks good in real life. Now ultimately you can do this in several different ways. Like you could go in with a really nice kind of liquid highlighter underneath your foundation before you've even put it on to kind of get that peaking of it come through. But if you don't want to do that, this is what I'm going to show you, an easy way to do it at the end. And it's using a liquid highlighter, but it's using a liquid highlighter which is a specific formula and also in a very strategic way. I am going to use my SURRATT Beauty Artistique liquid highlighter in Chi Chi. And this is a great highlighter because it's got this very slight kind of like, it's like a slight bronzy look to it. So you can go for the other shade which isn't as bronzy. I put this on the back of my hand, and then you want to get a beauty blender and you're going to basically spray the beauty blender, the back of it, the round bit, right? You're going to go into this liquid highlighter and really buff that highlighter into the sponge. You're then going to bounce this over certain areas. See how that's coming through nicely? The back of a sponge is the most perfect place to get that. Look at that. See how I've got that coming through and it's not all over my face? If you want to do it with your finger, you can. You just grab it onto your finger like that and you pat it like so. There you go. Or you can use the sponge. I personally prefer the sponge, but this is how you get that. And I like to just add it to certain areas, like the tip of the nose. And you can add it to like the chin, just little areas which gives you that dimension. So everywhere you turn, you kind of feel like, okay, I've got that glazed donut look, but it isn't on every single inch of your face. Do you see what I mean? It's about being clever with where you apply it. And you do get that really nice glazed skin look this way, which works in real life. And that's the main thing, right? Not everything is about what photo you're going to put up on Instagram, like what picture you're going to put up. And oh, it looks great in the picture, but in real life, it doesn't look so good. We want it to look good in real life. Don't forget to like this video if you like it, subscribe and hit the bell button because that all kind of helps my channel out. It really does help to push my channel and just help other people find it a bit easier. So I really appreciate that from you. If you've missed this week's videos, make sure you head back and check them out because I can guarantee you're going to love them. I'm super excited for the next one. So I'm going to see you next week, same time, same place.